Here we are again. One more Thursday night where we can sit down, dig in, ingest and digest something that'll keep you filled, not just for the day, but for the whole week. What am I talking about? I'm talking about soul food, y'all. That food that sticks to your soul. It kind of wraps itself all around you, strengthens you, empowers you, nourishes you, keeps you going. What? Soul food, y'all. I'm not talking about that fast food. I'm not talking about that food that you eat on a daily, on the regular. I'm talking about the kind of food that fits inside your soul. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about soul food, y'all. Come on. If you haven't had none in a little while, come on. I invite you to the table. There's an empty chair right here. All you gotta do is bring your utensils. What is those? Sharp mind, ready heart, empty stomach for the soul food to nourish you. All you gotta do is pull up a chair. Just sit with me for a little while. Let's just talk for a little. Let's chop it up, stir it around. Find out what's the best game in town. What? Soul food. You can't get no better food. McDonald's can't handle it. Wendy's ain't got that kind of beef. And we've got a God that can fill your soul. So tonight, I invite you to bring your napkin, bring your fork, your spoon, and your cup. And let's have a little soul food, y'all. Are you ready? Well, let's get digging. Let's get cracking. Let's get eating. This is the Thursday after Mother's Day. Mother's Day is a big deal. I don't know if it's a big deal for you in your house, but for me in my house, it's a big deal. Mothers, whether they're wives or daughters or actual your own mother or grandmother, godmother, mothers to be, mothers that's been, even those who don't have children. Now listen now, this is kind of important, can still be a mother. Now, to understand why Mother's Day is such a special day, it's contextual. It's in the written word of God. And all we have to do is just kind of take out a ladle, stick it in there, and just dip out and pull out some of the broth so that we can understand why is Mother's Day so special. I often think about that. It seems like Mother's Day is a whole lot more special than Father's Day. Somebody say amen. So in order for us to get this knowledge about Mother's Day and why it's so special, we got to go to the first book of the Bible. For it is here where we can glean the quintessential reasonings as to why Mother's Day is a special day. Let's go. Turn with me to the first chapter of Genesis, the first book of the Bible. and let's locate the 27th verse. The first book of Genesis, Genesis chapter 1. And we're going to start reading at the 27th verse. You ready? I'm going to be reading from the King James Version. No, the New King James Version, because the old King James Version, it has some D's and Dow's. But every now and then, I got to have me some King James, so I can dissect it and chop it up. Every now and then, you got to have a little different flair. You just can't do salt and pepper all the time. Sometimes you want to throw in some Cajun seasoning. You know what I'm saying? The New King James Version, verse 27, first chapter of Genesis. So God created man in his image, and in the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them, and God said to both of them, be fruitful, go and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. The commandment given by God. To who? The man and woman of God. The original children of God. So I would like to focus our attention on that 28th verse, because I think that's where we can really begin to pull out why Mother's Day is so important. It said, then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and every living thing that moves on the earth. So, I like for us to think about this. There ain't no mama like the one I got. Now, each one of us should be able to say that ain't no mama like the one I got. Let me tell you something. I am a mama's boy, and I ain't afraid to say it. Now, my mom done gone on to glory, bless her heart. And when she was here, I loved her to life. Straight up, plain simple. My mom could not do anything wrong as far as I was concerned. Now, obviously, that ain't the truth, but I'm pretty sure she got on my dad's nerve every now and then. But then again, everybody gets on his nerves, so that's just the way it is. But I'm not afraid to admit it. My dad knows that I was a mama's boy, but not in that kind of sense where I was not able to handle my business and handle my own. Like mama had to do everything for me, but you can't talk about my mama. You can't disparage my mama. I'm just not having it. It gets to be like a fighting thing, and there's some tension there. There's some tension, especially when you've got individuals that kind of think that I should respect their mother more than I respect my own. Listen, I'm telling you, bro, that ain't gonna happen. Alive or resting in heaven, I still love my mama. And I can tell you this, I love my mama better than my brothers and sisters more than my brothers and sisters love my mama now. That's deep right there. And they'll argue it, but so don't listen to them. When they say, no, that's not true, it's true. I love my mama more than they love my mama. My brothers and sisters, for real, for real. I ain't joking, no cap. Now, here's the other thing. I can tell if any male loves their mama. It only takes one thing. It's by the way or what they call them, right? Now, some say, Mama, when they call them. Some say, Ma, Mommy. Some say, Mother. You know? But here's the interesting thing though, right? You can tell a mama's boy. And, you know, no cap. What did George Floyd call for in his last hours? Oh, come on, somebody. That just hit. That hurt me right there. Wow. He called his mom. She was already passed. George Floyd was a mama's boy. You feel what I'm saying? It's all in how you call her, what you call them, what you're willing to do for them, right? If you haven't heard someone call for their mom, you know that they did at one time in their life. You know, it's just an automatic thing. If you haven't said it yourself, you heard it. The call for mama is as old as our earthly existence. No doubt about it. It's primal. It's in our nature. It's in our being. It's in our essence. It's primary in thought, divinely destined to reach the ears and the heart of the intended hearer, mama. The fascinating thing about this call for mama is that the caller doesn't have to be taught how to make the call. And even more amazing is the hearer doesn't have to be taught how to receive the call. It's innate. It's wrapped in our DNA. You see, babies don't have to figure out how to call for mama. They just start crying. That's their call for mama. When they first come out the womb, they're crying. Why? Because they want their mama. It's funny. Moms know even their own babies cry and what they mean. You know, there's a cry that says, I'm wet. There's a cry that says, I'm hungry. There's a cry that says, I'm tired and sleepy. There's a tired that says, I can't handle no more. I'm frustrated. There's a cry for and moms know each child's cry. Now, some moms, you know, they doubt themselves, but mom, stop it. Don't doubt yourself. You know, when that baby cries, it does something to your soul. It does something to your subconscious. It does something that disturbs and changes the things that's inside of you. And there's times in which they'll say, leave them alone, let them cry. Come on, somebody. They know exactly why they're crying. And listen, my mama used to say, the more they cry, the less they pee. You know, when she understood why you're crying, why are you calling me? Oh, I know why. You know, and it's almost like telepathy. You know, it's like they understand, right? And they go, I don't want to hear that. Or they'll give you this one. You want me to give you something to cry for? Somebody know what I'm talking about on that one, right? So there was a time in which the house, because our house was always filled with people and kids. They used to call my house the house of 10 or more, because at any given time of the day, because of my mama, there was 10 kids in that house somewhere or another, or 15 outside around or somewhere. And there was always kids in the house. And my mom would have all these kids in the house, and people would come over and bring their kids. And we know that's where we had community. You know, everybody was a cousin. They weren't even born, but that was my brother from another mother, you know, that kind of thing, for real, for real. And people would come over to the house, and one of the kids, everything from, I'm talking about, 6 months old to, 16 years old. It'd be 10, 15 people in that house just walking around. And then one day, somebody fell and hurt themselves, and they started crying. And the one mama looked up and she said, such and such, that's your child crying. Go get her. And it just surprised me that out of all these kids in the room, and she's in the kitchen, and the kid bumps herself in the dining room, which is separate from the kitchen, and my mom knew whose kid it was just based upon the cry. Come on, somebody. That's something special right there. Just the cry alone. Not only do you know your own kids cry, but you know other kids cry as well. What? You see, it's the accent. I think it's from being with them. It's the accent, the sound, the inflection, right? And it's the timing. Some kids draw it out. Mama! So ma, it all depends on what's going on. It's the intensity in which you say it and how you say it. It determines how fast, the way you say it, how fast you say it, with the intensity that you say it, will determine how fast your mom responds. And you know what? I bet you this even now. Those of you who are blessed to have mothers still around and still alive, call them on the phone. And I bet you if you haven't called her in a long time, when she answers the phone, she'll say something like, "What's wrong?" Hey, they know. I don't know why they know. They say it's, female intuition, but mama intuition is something different, right? Remember the times when you really wanted something from your mom? It's like, Mom, Mama, Mama. I fell and scraped my knee, busted my lip, that kind of thing. And my mom and I was yelling and screaming until the cows came home. And so the specialness of motherhood, I believe, is divinely inspired. I think motherhood is something that God had made. When God made woman, she was not made to be a mother at the time, I think. But then again, maybe she was, because Adam said, this is bone in my bone and flesh is my flesh. And plus, God had already told us, Adam and Eve, go forth, be fruitful and multiply. So the woman was made for that divine purpose, right? But she was made a mother. So God put together the ideal that the woman would be the one that could reproduce, but the man had to be a part of that for communion and communion to take place so that she could then reproduce. The Bible tells us that God caused Adam, right, to fall into a deep sleep. And as he slept, he pulled the rib out, fashioned her, blew into her the breath of life, and she became a living soul. So God created them both, right? Now watch this. A mother is a type of woman. Yes? A mother is a type of woman. But not being a mother doesn't make any female any less of a woman. A mother is a woman, and a woman without a child is still a woman. It just means that God purposed woman to be a woman first until there is communion with a man. In our culture, when does a woman or a female, when does a female become a woman in our culture? I'll give you time. Okay, time's up. You already know what that answer is, right? So we don't have to go there. Yet every woman knows that being a female doesn't mean you have what it takes to be a mother. See, female, woman, mother, these are distinctly different purposes. And the ideal of trying to separate womanhood from motherhood is as difficult as trying to separate water from ice. Jesus from the Holy Spirit. You see, God purposed womanhood to be an essential part of his divinely inspired plan. When God blessed the woman and said to her, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth and subdue it, her role was forever etched into her purpose and her existence, her reason for being. And it was forever etched in eternity. You see, a woman is the only one of her kind as a human. The female human is one of a kind. There is none like her. A woman is the only one in the human race who can reproduce. Now, it takes a male, but she's the only one that has that design purpose to reproduce. The only one of her kind who can multiply. The only one of her kind who can replenish the earth. There is none other like a woman. The woman is the only one who can or has been called to accomplish the divine inspired purpose of replenishing the earth. So it doesn't really matter if an individual feels emotionally strong about wanting to be a woman. It's irrelevant. Even if they go through reconstructive surgery to physically become a woman, to have the woman outlet, only a woman can be fruitful. If the woman decides not to be a woman, she would have to take out the very things that make her what she is. She would still be a woman. Because you would have to take out what's already in her. But the purpose is already etched within her. Only a woman can replenish the earth. Only a woman can reproduce. Only a woman can be a mother. And if that doesn't make womanhood special, nothing will. From the time God formed woman from the rib of man to today's 21st century woman, motherhood has remained unchanged. It wasn't until she fell in the Garden of Eden to do what God had told her not to do. She became a mother and a mother of all things. You see, a mother, my mother, not only took care of 7 children, but she took care of everybody else's children. They all called her Mama Callie. I think my mama was the first one to start daycare. They would come drop them off over her house or our house. My mom loved unconditionally, no matter how much you disliked her, she still loved you. No, I'm not being facetious here. You know, she was the kind of person that would love you no matter what kind of trouble you was going through, no matter what kind of problem you had, no matter what was going on with you. Even if you tried to take her life, it didn't matter. She would love unconditionally. And I think this is why I thought my mom often had broken hearts, and those other mothers that love unconditionally. Growing up, I thought unconditional love meant broken hearts. But what I've come to find out is unconditional love heals broken hearts. My mom would give her last so that we might get whatever she was giving first. You feel what I'm saying? My mom had the ability to kiss the pain away. You know, I don't know how it was, but she had this ability to touch you and rub you, and somehow or another, whatever that was paining you would just drain from you. I'm telling you, there wasn't no mama like the one I got. She's so special to me. And this is not about just my mama, because I know that there are thousands and probably millions, and it's been billions since the beginning of time, that have the exact same kind of mama. They love unconditionally, they give, they protect, they keep, they teach, they love. So I know that you can say the exact same thing. And you know what? That love that you have for your mom is just like the love I have for my mom. Now, I'm going to say this because I think this is important. There are some of us who didn't have a mom like mine. There were some of us who had moms that didn't do well in terms of raising them. There were some moms that did some very bad things. There are some moms that couldn't help themselves. There were some destructive moms. There were some moms that never found any peace anywhere. But there's one thing that you got to understand. If you came from her, she fulfilled a God-inspired plan and purpose. She gave you life. Now, what you do with that life, sure, she could support. Sure, she coulda, shoulda, woulda. Yeah, she could have. But after a while, listen, the Bible says even, and it's from a marriage piece, but it's still true. Sooner or later, you will leave your mother and father and cleave to your significant other, your wife, your husband, right? And you've got to make life on your own. And that's what moms do. Sometimes they prepare you. And the moms that didn't prepare you, you can't blame them for that now. You're old enough. Listen, you're old enough to raise yourself now. So all you got to do now is just love like she loves or can love unconditionally. If she didn't love unconditionally, maybe it's time for you to love her unconditionally. Because I'm telling you, there ain't no mama like the one I got. See, if your mama didn't give you her first, which made her last, then maybe it's time that you learn that lesson and you give your first, your last to your kids so that they get first. Why? Because ain't no mama like the one I got. Listen, these are lessons. Listen, there's no such thing as bad. There ain't no such thing as loss. You're learning. And if you don't learn from the loss and you continue to do the exact same thing that was done to you, then you can't make them wrong if you're doing what they did. Come on. Let's just be real for real. Let's put the cards on the table. Somebody does you wrong and you get all broken up, oh, you done me wrong, and then you go do the same thing to somebody else. Hello, somebody. I know I'm talking to myself now because we want to be able to be the victim. We want to be able to say, well, my mama wasn't worth for, my mama this and my mama that, my mama, she gave you life, bruh. Now, what are you going to do with that? You want her to carry you throughout your whole life? Did you not learn some lessons from this life? Did you not learn some lessons of what not to do? Or you was just looking to get what somebody else has? Somehow or another, my brother, ain't no mama like the one I got. So don't be looking to try or to ask or to have a mama like I got. The mama you got was ordained to do what she did, and that's to give you life. And that's all you get. That's all you need. Because our God in heaven becomes the lamp unto your walkway and a light unto your path. And sooner or later, you've got to reach back and say, thank you. Thank you that I'm here and I have the opportunity to be here, because you wouldn't be here without your mama. Good or bad, right or wrong, here or gone, your mama is a very special woman. But again, ain't no mama like the one I got. I just want you to think about that. I ain't gonna hold you long, but I just want you to know, ain't no mama like the one I got. Now, if my siblings, hear this, don't y'all call me, because y'all already know. All I'm trying to do is give these people some soul food, y'all. I am the Reverend Dr. Coach J. And I am blessed to be with you, soul food, today. Now I hope and I pray that I might see you next Thursday. For what? Soul food, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. Bring your napkin and your fork, and I'll see you next Thursday.